Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the main event. You're here with me, Daniel.
And Aaron.
Aaron, we're back for part two, fresh off a Twitter Spaces. So hopefully you haven't already listened to that. Otherwise, you'd be sick of my voice, I'm sure. 2 hours that went on for. So I think people will be pretty exhausted of what I've got to say. But your thoughts are pretty fresh. It's just a shame that your thoughts aren't really. So that's the issue that we've got with that.
Yeah,
Um,
and they don't help anyone.
No, excited for the Super Bowl tonight. Obviously, this will be released. We'll know who the winner was. Who do you think's going to win? Who do you want to win?
Um, I think I want the Eagles to win, but that's just because the Chiefs are so good. They're kind of like I wouldn't say the Eagles are the underdogs, but yeah, I just give someone else a chance. Chiefs, give someone else a chance.
Fair enough. We're not yet for Super Bowl. There is one question, not even a question. What is bigger, the Champions League or the Super Bowl? Of course, it is the Champions League. Even the round of 16 is bigger than the Super Bowl final. Don't at me. We're going to start with Liverpool versus Real Madrid. Uh, the stats for Liverpool are really easy to go through this calendar year. They played 4 games. They've got Everton's the next one. In those 4 games this year, they've scored 1 goal by Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, and they've conceded 9. That's in the league. They have played in the FA Cup, which they got knocked out of as well. So they aren't playing very well at all.
Understatement.
Yeah,
They're
the reason
still
why
the
I put
favorites to win, though, apparently. If you look at the betting odds and win probability on Google, Liverpool 43% chance to win compared to Real Madrid's 31%.
I'm not a betting man, Aaron, but I may have to put a bet on Real Madrid to win this then.
Okay.
Real Madrid, I mean, they're hit and miss anyway, to be honest. The 1-5-3 last night, I don't have who got all the goals. I know that, I think, as far as I'm aware, Vinny got 2, Verde got 2, or Valverde even. I can't just shorten his surname down, like we're friends. And Benzema got 1. That's off the top of my head, and I don't know who got the assists. But they conceded 3. Lunen's in goal now. Couture with a big injury. Before that, we're hit and miss. At least the formation's a normal 4-3-3, so that makes it easy. Got beat 2-1 for Villarreal. They beat Bilbao 2-0, drew 0-0 with Sociedad, beat Valencia 2-0, got beat 1-0 off Mallorca. And in the semi-final of the Club World Cup Championships, they beat Al Ali 4-1. I'm sure that was really, really difficult for them. In terms of like who's playing, Nacho has been playing a lot of games at right back with Carvajal being absent, but Carvajal, when he is fit, seems to play. Rudiger has played every game this calendar year at centre back. It seems to be Militao and Alaba that have sort of changed around, but Militao can't play at right back as well. And then Camavinga's played the last, again, when I say the last 4, I'm talking about the last 3 league games in the semi final. I don't have anything written about the final. So, Aaron, if you've got anything to say about the final of the Club World Cup Championships, please let me know. I just didn't have a chance to do it. Between having to do the research for the other teams. Before that, so he's keeping Ferland Mendy out the team, basically. Doubts about his
Ferland
future.
Mendy's injured.
Yeah. There's also been doubts about him anyway, and that he was linked away in January. But yeah.
Sorry, I know you said that.
No, it's all good. Valverde's been hit and miss. Seems to be doing better when he is on the right wing. But Asensio's played there a few games, and Asensio's actually done quite well when he's played there. I think that's fair to say. Kroos has probably been their best central midfield player. Modric has just been completely out of whack recently. Ceballos is randomly getting games. Ceballos has played the last 4 league games, and he came off the bench in the semi-final and got an assist. He hasn't been doing anything, but for whatever reason he's playing. I don't like Real Madrid's midfield with regards to trying to pick assets. I think we've got to stick to the front 3, which basically there's 5 players. There is Rodrigo, Valverde, Vinicius Jr., Marco Asensio, and Benzema. What are your thoughts on those five players?
I think Vinicius Junior is in the better form. Out of them all, I think him against Trent Alexander-Arnold was a massive matchup in the final last year. Um, and Vinicius Junior keeps getting better and better. Trent Alexander-Arnold does not. And well, defensively, actually, I think just in general, he's not gotten better and better. Um, that's up for debate for some people and for some Liverpool fans. But I think Valverde is definitely a player who's improved massively in the fact that he's a cheap midfielder. Um, like his appeal goes up. He's the one who obviously got the goal, got the assist in the final last year. Benzema, we all know how dangerous he can be, but we know that he's not in the same kind of form. But if we rewind a year, it was kind of like at the start of the knockout stages where he came into his own and he scored like back-to-back hat tricks and stuff like that.
Yeah, I
So
remember very, very well, Aaron. I remember just like it was yesterday, telling everyone that Benzema wouldn't possibly score a hat trick away at Chelsea. And well, to be fair, I think he may have only got a brace.
but it was just yeah.
He got back-to-back hat tricks. I think it was against
It's
PSG. One of
similar to
them was.
what I think it's similar to what Ronaldo used to do with Real Madrid. Obviously he averaged more goals than appearances, but you would have that purple patch from March till the end of the season. It's almost like Real Madrid's kind of training programs are tailored to have them peak at the end of the season. Which I just find really interesting if you like look back over like few years. Um, but in terms of like the midfield, kind of what you were saying before, normally whenever we try to get in their midfielders, Modric and Kroos were too expensive. And so we normally just went for the ball recoveries in midfield anyways, so we can ignore them. Um, I think a very interesting point is that there's a lot of cheap goalkeepers, um, like not first choice ones. And so I think we can sometimes fall into a trap where we like double up on cheap goalkeepers.
Mm,
If you have a wild card, that's very that's okay to do. But if you don't, you're leading yourself almost into a trap if you don't plan it carefully.
agreed.
Um, so you need to make sure that you've got an escape plan ready in case your teams get knocked out. But in terms of the front three, I currently have Benzema and Vinicius Junior in my team. The only
I
da-
do as well.
the only thing that is potentially making me well, Vinicius Junior staying in there. The only thing that's making me not have Benzema potentially is um do I go for Harry Kane over Benzema? Um
Did
both of
you
them
listen to the Spaces with for when we had the Milan versus Tottenham discussion?
I did. I did. It was a very good discussion. The recording is available. So definitely want
I
to
think
check it.
Son is looking like a better pick, or Perisic.
Yeah. In while I was listening to it, I did change Perisic into my team for definite. It was one of them. It's one of them where like you talk about it on the podcast, and then you're like, yeah, that's a great decision. And then somehow when you just forget about it because it was the first match we talked about, then you look
Yeah,
at your team and you're like, there was a good bet that I was going to talk, like I was going to put in here, but I can't remember who it was. And then
yeah.
when I listened to the discussion, I was like, of course it was Perisic. So, um, but yeah, I think I'm going to go Benzema just with the amount of defensive injuries that Liverpool have, over two legs, like all the injuries they're going to have in the first leg at Anfield, never a better opportunity. And then they have to go back to Real Madrid where they have to confirm the win. You'd pick them both. So
Yeah,
compared to Tottenham, where you just don't know which one is going to turn up,
yeah.
Real Madrid have the history of doing well in the tournament, so kind of using that. So I'm leaning more towards Benzema currently, just due to Son and Perisic also being good shouts.
I agree. Benzema is the one in best form. He has not including last night. He's got 2 goals and 2 assists to Vinicius Junior's 1 goal, and that's it in the league in the last 5 league games. Obviously, Vinicius Junior's went mental in this Club World Cup. So that's probably why you want him. I do think the big game players, we've seen it before from Real Madrid where they switch off in the league, got beat off Sheriff when they won it.
Yeah.
Got them. The labour in the groups, I just feel like sometimes there are players where the occasion can be too small, and the Champions League group stages can sometimes feel like La Liga can feel like that to them. Those big moments, Anfield away would probably help them, especially with how dross Liverpool are. Like, again, just to stress, Liverpool's top goal scorer since the restart is Fez, Leicester's centre back. It's not even a joke.
Crazy, isn't it?
Now, obviously, they've got a good chance to turn things around against Everton, but that's not going to be an easy game. Everton historically get beat off Liverpool at Anfield, and it is at Anfield the next game. But with the way that they're playing, you never know. That'd just be absolute nail in the coffin if Everton beat Liverpool. That being said, I think it is worth mentioning Salah. Liverpool haven't been good all season, and he's returned massively in the group stages. I suppose the level of competition, though, Rangers, etc.
That's where it was. Like Salah, it was Salah versus Rangers. He didn't start and came on and scored a hat-trick.
Yeah, minging. What do you think the score's going to be at this one?
I've got Real Madrid winning 2-1.
I'm going to go Real Madrid 3-0.
Oh,
sorry.
I am excited to watch it, though.
I think Liverpool will be better when Jota and Diaz and Virgil van Dijk come back in. 3 of the best players. It's not like they're not injury ravaged, but them 3 out, and Jota and Diaz both expected back for the second leg, I believe.
Could be. The other game is on that night is Frankfurt versus Napoli.
Yes, I was double checking my my charger was plugged into the laptop, but it wasn't actually charging. I was like, help! It's fixed. So what Frankfurt versus Napoli.
I know this game. I mean, there's not much that I can say that we don't know. They are just demolishing the opposition in Italy, winning 3-0 tonight while you were on the space.
Yeah. Who got the second and the third? I know that Kvaratskhelia got the first.
Osimhen got the second, and then Elmas got the third.
He came off the bench, didn't he?
Yeah. 15 shots, 10 on target, 67% possession. Just easily done. Clean sheet as well. But we know that obviously when this draw was made, we were kind of like, yes, get Napoli players in. We're probably still like that now due to how cheap they are. But Frankfurt are not a pushover that they were back then. They have turned round. They showed why they were why they did win the Europa League last year and why they're just a good team in general, despite them losing 3-0 today.
Yeah, did get beat 3-0 today. That is their first loss since the start of the new year. So their first loss of 2023 in the league, most certainly. Got beat 3-0.
But whenever when I did the weekly reviews, they were like 15th, like 16th. They're all the way up into 6th now, and they're only 3 points away from 3 points, and they're going to 4th. That would the 5 points behind Dortmund, so quite a turnaround.
Yeah. In terms of their team, Trapp's the goalkeeper. They play 3-4-2-1 pretty consistently. So they've got Tuta, Smolcic, Ndika, Nov. And then they sort of rotate other players around. Sau is often sort of in there. Buta is played at the back. Ultimately, I wouldn't care less anyway. Just stay away from any of the defenders and the goalkeeper. Kamada was handy in the group stages. He's not been up to much since the restart. 1 assist in 5 games, and he's only 3 of them will start. 2 he's came off the bench. Lindstrom could be appealing. 1 goal, 2 assists in 5 games. As a midfielder, if you're looking for someone, I think there are much better midfielders, though, even beneath his price point. Mario Götze has done sweet FA. But Mwani, what a success story he was. He's got 4 goals, one of which was a penalty, won a penalty, and has a bog standard assist in the last 5 games. So if you're looking to break the template with your striker, especially if you're like, I don't know, 50k, and you need to like really catch up, I think he could be a bit of a dark horse, especially at home in Frankfurt. He's not someone that I'm going to go with, but that's because I'm pretty much nailed on my 3 strikers in Benzema and the other 2 we're about to talk about tonight. But if you did want to break that template, then I think he would be a great shout. Napoli players absolutely speak for themselves. So they play a 4-3-3. Emery is the goalkeeper. Di Lorenzo is the right back. Rui is the left back. Kim and Rahmani are the centre backs. Anguissa, Lobotka, and Zielinski play in midfield. Lozano plays on the right. Kvaratskhelia plays on the left, and Osimhen plays through the middle. Your choices are you going to go for Rui or Di Lorenzo at fullback? Di Lorenzo's been a little bit hotter recently with 1 goal, 1 assist in the last. I'll not include tonight because I don't know who got the assist. 5. Rui has
He's
1
also he's also 2 ball recoveries away from Otamendi as the top defender for ball recoveries so far in the Champions League.
So I personally got Di Lorenzo in my team at the minute, so I would go for Di Lorenzo. The other options, one that I didn't mention on the spaces actually, is Anguissa, who has won a penalty and has an assist. Also gets ball recoveries. I think could be a little bit of a dark horse if you are looking to get 4 Napoli players in. If you do want to jump on
he got me through the group stage, to be fair. I had him in for multiple weeks, but then it was like match day 5 where he just didn't play. But before that, he was averaging 8 points a game. So it was absolutely solid. Selected by 5%, 5.7 million. But obviously, for 0.2, you can get the absolute wonder on his birthday today, Cravadonna himself.
Kvaratskhelia, who before tonight had 2 goals, one of which was a penalty, so that's interesting to see, and 3 assists, but obviously got a goal tonight. I don't know if he got any assists. He is as essential as he can possibly be in a champion in a fantasy game for his price. He's a joke. He's an absolute joke. Just have him in. Don't need to say anything else. And Osimhen is one of my strikers. Another goal tonight, but before that, in the 5 games in the new year, he has 6 goals in 5 games, none of which were penalties, and an assist. That was before tonight, where he's also scored. He's, to say hot would be an understatement. He's the Serie A Haaland, basically. Playing the same colours as well. Get him. You could even captain him as your second captain or as your first captain. Actually, no, it'd have to be your second captain. He plays in the last. No, he could be your first captain. Yeah.
So this is something I was wondering. You do have the World Cup. There was a bit of confusion behind the whole captain thing.
Oh, I know what you're going to ask, and I don't know the answer.
Nothing's changed as far as I'm aware. Nobody's said anything on any threads that I've read and stuff like that. I do believe we've got 4 shots at having a good captain.
Right.
So if you potentially have a captain shout every day,
then Osimhen or Kvaratskhelia has to be one of them for that day.
For that day.
Liverpool, Real Madrid, though. People will go Benzema.
Yeah, but then you've got the 4th day. You've got Man City on the last day to clean it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, if any captaincy shout doesn't work, Haaland is going to be the most captain player on the last day.
Yes. Happy days. Um, so for that first thing, we didn't really talk about it too much then. So for you, obviously you were saying would I captain anyone? We're going to have to now. Who you captain on the first day? Tottenham versus Milan, PSG versus Bayern.
Oh, I don't have anyone from. I don't know. I've got Perisic now, so captain wing back on your first day, maybe. Um, for Bayern, yeah, I'd probably go Perisic to be fair over the Bayern lot because that game's a lot closer. Milan are just not as great, despite a very injury ravaged Paris Saint-Germain. Um, but
And
yeah,
Mbappe's
I
apparently back.
reckon.
Back going to be back in time. Messi's going to be back in time. Apparently. Mbappe's in the squad.
I don't think they have a choice really.
Yeah,
They'll be sent out with like their leg strapped up
like
and
a
they can't
mummy.
bend their knee. Yeah. Um I just think if it was FPL and you had looked at Milan's form, I think they would be a team to target. So I think there's more ceiling for points in the Tottenham Milan game than Paris Saint-Germain because you don't know which way that game is going to go. I think that's going to be a lot
Yeah,
closer,
I
even though
think.
I did predict more goals than Paris Saint-Germain. But
Yeah, I think
yeah,
I'm going to captain a Bayern Munich midfielder on the first day.
yeah, potentially
Then,
Musiala.
then Grimaldo on the second. Then
Yeah,
Osimhen on the
Benfica
third.
defense has to be.
Haaland on the fourth.
Yeah.
Or Mahrez. Um, so moving. Oh, sorry. So not quite moving on. Any more to say on Napoli versus Frankfurt other than a scoreline prediction? Do you have anything else?
Um, no, you'd mentioned about Di Lorenzo. I was kind of going back and forth on Kim 4.5, but I think just with the extra funds that we have available, um, I think the jump up to Di Lorenzo is worth it, and look to cut someone else out the team. So I think a lot of people are going to have the same players from Napoli, and I don't think I'm very excited for this tie. Actually, I think I'm going to watch this one over the Liverpool game.
I want to as well. I think that's the one I want to watch. But we'll have to see.
It's a week
Next,
away. Like that's the hard bit. Like
yeah, exactly.
Real, there's one thing I didn't say about Real Madrid is that their games after they play Liverpool just are absolutely awful. They've got them. They play two games before playing Liverpool, unlike everyone else who only plays one. And then afterwards they play Atletico Madrid, and then the second leg after they play Liverpool, they play Barcelona. So, um, I mean, talk about big occasions, but it's stuff like that where these games make it harder because you could have these players, and for all we know, Osimhen gets injured next week in Syria. Like,
Yeah, I think it's important to stack up as much as you can on the first group of fixtures.
yeah, that's the hardest bit, I think. But I think the only thing I'd say on Napoli, which is a question I've seen going around Twitter, especially on the Italian fan accounts, do you think Napoli are good enough this year to win the Champions League?
No, not they're not good
I
enough.
think,
I just don't think they will. I just think that history tells us that in big moments, I think they'll do similar like Ajax. Like, well, they'll bottle it in a semi-final, second leg or something to a big team. I know the bottle at the
I
Tottenham.
think a lot of it depends on their form in Syria and how close they get to the title. If it came down to it and they had to forfeit uh a Champions League progression or the title, which they're so close to, they would write off the Champions League in a heartbeat, in my opinion.
But they probably think they've got a better chance of winning. their league.
Yeah. I mean, what's it? I think it's 15 points ahead of Inter, something
Oh,
like that. Crazy.
they probably already won it.
Yeah. So the thing is, on current form, I would say yes, they could probably beat any other team, but it's the form going into April and May, which is what I was saying about Real Madrid. They just come into form at the right time. And if
Yeah,
it came into a semi-final between Napoli and Real Madrid, I think Real Madrid would go through because of experience and
yeah,
stuff like that.
I agree.
But I just think it's an interesting question, and it really goes to show how much progression that Napoli have
Yeah,
done this year.
amazing, absolutely amazing. Probably everyone's second team, I think, in terms of wanting them to do well and how they play football. They're just amazing. Watch, definitely the most exciting team in Europe to watch.
But I think semi-final, kind of like what you said, is their ceiling.
Yeah. On to Leipzig versus Manchester City. Leipzig, who've again been a little bit all over the place, especially formation wise. They kind of don't make any sense. The coach, I don't know what he's doing. Played a 4-2-3-1 with to draw 1-1 with Bayern Munich, which I think is a good result. They changed it to a 4-2-2-2 to beat Schalke 6-1. Great. They keep that to beat Stuttgart 2-1. So you're thinking, well, that's formation 4-2-2-2. No, change it to a 3-4-2-1 to draw 0-0 with Cologne. However, Cologne have drawn with Bayern Munich recently as well. So they aren't a soft touch. They keep that formation and get beat 2-1 off Union Berlin at the weekend. Um,
Union Berlin, who are second in the Bundesliga currently. So
yes. So it's interesting that it's obviously not an entire, like I say, Cologne's a good team, Union Berlin's a good team. It's nice to see them doing well. And
we talked
obviously
about
they're
them next
both,
year potentially.
yes,
Their de their
I
debut on
like
the
Union
podcast.
Berlin. Um, and again, I think they're both. I think Leipzig, Union Berlin will be two East German teams. I'm not too sure about Union Berlin whether they're classed as West or East Germany. Obviously, um, hot topic. So it's more so just the fact that you would change a winning formation for no reason, but it is
Yeah.
what it is. Blaskovic is the keeper. I don't think anyone. I'm not even going to bother going through the defenders. I mean, Orban and Gvardiol are your centre backs. If you want to pick one, don't though. Just don't pick them. You
There,
probably don't want to
there
go
was a
together midfield. Say that again.
no, there was a thread that I've just read on Twitter about like clean sheet percentages of the Champions League. Leipzig are the least likely to keep a clean sheet. Um, so yeah, I don't the defenders I don't think were an option anyways.
No. So let's just skip them. I think a lot of people would have been looking at Dani Olmo, 2 goals in an assist this year, but the problem is he's now injured, out long term by the looks of it. Our old boy, our old favourite, Sobo, Dominic Soboslai, he's he's got 2 goals and an assist in the 5 games that he's played. He's played in all 5 in the new year, varying positions. So I think if you wanted to go for a punt, you could go for him. The other player, obviously, I mean, Werner's played the last 4 games, 1 goal. Silva's played all 5 up front. He's got 3 goals in those 5 games, but I don't think you're going to be using up a striker spot on Andre Silva, unfortunately. The question, obviously, question mark is over in Kunku, who's had fitness issues. So in a few weeks'
And
time,
a confirmed transfer.
he's a confirmed transfer to Chelsea. He did score a hat-trick against Man City last season. I think it was last season. On the opening day of the Champions League. So Nkunku will forever be an option. I think the issue is I don't know whether he's going to play. If I knew he was going to play, I think I'd keep him. I love him. I absolutely love him. He's one of my favourite European players. I just unsure about his minutes and his fitness. I think even if he is fit, like how fit is he? If he's been struggling, is he a 55, 60-minute player this week? Obviously, we've got another week before we know that, but we're not going to be able to do anything about it anyway because our teams will be locked in by then. I think he's a wait and see, unfortunately, because I'd fancy him against Man City's defence. They aren't keeping clean sheets really. Um, I think they've kept 2 clean sheets in the last 6 league games, so it's not fantastic to constantly change defenders. Anything about Leipzig yourself?
I think with Leipzig, obviously historically manager tampering and tinkering has kind of been their downfall, kind of overthinking these type of things. And ironically, that's also been Man City's. So it'll be interesting to kind of see which one um, kind of comes out on top. I do think the quality of Man City will be too good over the 2 legs. But obviously, with today's kind of news, it'll be a little bit more interesting than what it would have been, I believe. And we'll just kind of have to wait and see. It's going to be very interesting what people do with their teams. I'll just touch on it now. The fact that Haaland is now a doubt for the Arsenal game with his injury, and whether people still go in knowing that that game is next week and have him in the Champions League teams, or do they risk having him in, or do they risk leaving him out? So I think that's absolutely massive for this, especially because was he your third striker?
Yes. I
Yeah,
think
so
he's
that's
last day captaincy, and he really Man City versus Leipzig. I
yes.
suppose
So
Napoli versus France. Oh no, yeah.
in
The other one's in Porto, so
yeah, so the rest of the Man City team don't. They're not. It's hard because you can't say they're less dangerous, but I would rather face Man City without Haaland than with them.
yes, I agree. Mahrez is the only other Man City player I'm considering.
Yeah, the rest of them just aren't. Like I had Nathan Ake in my team, but that's like from my first ever tampering. I kind of get my kind of draft ready. That was all the way back after the World Cup. When I saw that he was playing a little bit more because he was 4.4. I probably will not have him in because it's just too risky, and Man City aren't keeping clean sheets. Um,
Exactly.
so yeah,
For for Man City's last 6 league games, beat Chelsea 1-0, then got beat off Man United 2-1, beat Tottenham 4-2, beat Wolves 3-0, got beat off Tottenham 1-0, and then beat Aston Villa 3-1. So 2 clean sheets in the last 6 league games. A myriad of changes in defence. Kyle Walker, weirdly enough, looks like one of the most nailed players. But you could have said that about Akanji, and he got left out today for Diaz. But Diaz came off at half time. Yes, I just think Mahrez and Haaland or no one, in my opinion.
and I think that just goes with the strategy of prioritizing people in your first week, because where we have the most information. Yes, the odd player may have a higher ceiling in the next week, but I think at this point you want to go with the information rather than absolutely dreading next week and having to rely on them for points. Because we've all been there when we are relying on Man City news on the last day to get to
Megan, isn't it?
yeah, to make or break your match day in UCL. It's just not a fun place to be.
No.
Just avoid the headache, and if they pop off, then congratulate or hate the person that had the balls to go for it. But for me, for Leipzig, these two have played each other. I feel like every year, like it's almost like a penciled in like fixture every single year in the Champions League, almost like Real Madrid and Shakhtar.
Yes.
Um, but there's nothing that we've kind of seen over the last few meetings that would suggest that Leipzig have a major advantage.
Did they win? I've
Both
got my
teams have scored both
when,
times, if I remember. I don't think there's been a clean sheet between them.
yeah, when Nkunku, it was 2 seasons ago he scored his hat trick, wasn't it? Because I can't remember actually, was it last season? Because Kyle Walker got sent off, didn't he? And they got beat 3-1. Was that in the groups though?
I'm pretty sure that rings a bell because I was about to say 3-1.
and they got beat. They got beat 3. Did they win 3-1 or get beat 3-1?
I'm sure they got beat 3-1.
Yeah, and it
Other
was
than that,
like
I think Man City's beat them every other time.
yeah, but I think even then the game was gone, wasn't it? It was like match day 5 or 6 in Man City were already through.
Oh, here we go. I've pulled up the historical ones. So, um, last time they faced each other, Leipzig won 2-1.
Okay.
And the time before that, Man City won 6-3, and that was the Nkunku hat trick.
Yeah, so it was 2-1 then when Kyle Walker got sent off, not 3-1.
Yeah. And Mahrez scored then. And in the other one, um, Ake scored. It was an own goal. Mahrez scored again. Grealish, Cancelo, Jesus
Mahrez,
scored in both times. So there you go.
yeah, coming in. I brought him into my FPL team this week for a hit, and it's done well. So, um,
Solid.
what's the score going to be?
Um, in Germany, I'm just gonna go conservative. I think it'll be a one. Oh, I was about to say 1-0. A 2-1 to Man City. I don't think Man City will keep a clean sheet.
I think it's going to be a total draw.
2-2.
On to the next one.
Last one.
Inter versus Porto. So, do you want to start with Inter?
Yeah. So I think first of all is when we again I mentioned that thread that I wish I apologies to whoever wrote it. I can't remember. I read a lot tonight in preparation for this. I think it's probably the most research I've done recently, to be fair. But Inter came out on top in terms of most likely to keep a clean sheet. In
Interesting.
it, 46% likely to keep a clean sheet compared, and the next highest was 38, which was Benfica, of course. Um, so and that surprised me. I was like, right, well, what have I missed with Inter? Because they didn't strike me up. They play tomorrow, or probably they play later today at the time that you're listening to this.
Yeah.
But just looking over their like last few games, they beat Milan 1-0, Atalanta 1-0, they won 2-1. They then lost 1-0 to Empoli,
With
beat
10
Milan.
men, or
Yeah, that's
Skriniar
true.
got sent off, didn't he?
Yeah, which also might suggest why they conceded in the next match as well. 1-0 to Verona, but they just have never struck me as like defensively solid. Maybe the fact
Napoli
that
1-0.
yeah, they Dumfries doesn't play every week anymore.
No. They had one in the last 6.
So I mean, we always said that with them that they've got the centre backs and the defenders like necessary to like have a really really good team. They've just never played them all at the same time.
To be fair, though, Acerbi has been a mainstay, and I mean, he is rubbish. I don't know if he's gotten better. He must have gotten better because against good teams, he is properly rubbish. But they've
Yeah,
got Bastoni, who's one of the best young defenders in the world.
yeah.
Skriniar is just one of the best defenders in the world. Um,
I think he's out of
and
contract, isn't he, soon? So they'll, I think him.
Skriniar
Yeah, I believe so.
playing for PSG.
Has he already?
As far as I'm aware, I might be wrong with that, but I'm confident he ended up signing for PSG because I wanted the mighty Newcastle's Saudi blood money to buy him. I say it with a
Uh,
laugh.
I think out of all of them, though, I would say the pick is probably DeMarco, 4.6. If you're looking for a cheap way into just someone who could potentially sit on your bench and, if needed, could come and try and get more than 1 or 2 points that you may be after at this point. My only
One assist in his last 6, and yeah, 3 clean sheets. Not
so
bad.
I think that's the bit, isn't it? It's like in terms of ball recoveries as well, 19 ball recoveries, which in terms like in relation to the rest of the team is the most. Acerbi having 18. And that's DeMarco not playing every game either. So he's got the most ball recoveries out of everyone as well. Brozovic being back, uh, he'll be back in time for this game. Will be massive. I think he's potentially fit to start tomorrow, so it'll be interesting to see his minutes. But they're a lot more sound defensively when he's sitting in front of the defense. But I think he's like the shout. He got 2 assists in the group stage as well, and but just in terms of how the fixtures have kind of planned out, if he sits on your bench, he hasn't took up a lot of funds, and apparently Inter are the most likely to keep a clean sheet. So he's the cheapest way into their defense.
Yeah. Inter's midfield are Barella, Çalhanoğlu, and Mkhitaryan. Wouldn't go for any of them. They play Dzeko and your favourite, Lautaro Martinez, up front. And he is playing unbelievably well. 5 games he's played, and he has 5 goals. Aaron, can I persuade you? And what's that face for? You look like the man that once upon a time decided to get this Lautaro Martinez in instead of Robert Lewandowski and couldn't get him in because you couldn't get rid of Lautaro.
Yeah, that's couldn't get rid of him. I couldn't get rid of him.
For his 1-pointers every week.
And the thing is, in World Cup fantasy, when I had him as well, you saw the amount of shocking chances he missed.
Why did you get him in World Cup fantasy?
Because I doubled up. I doubled up on Messi and
Martin. Honestly, for someone with such a big head, such a small Champions League World Cup, why does Lautaro Martinez
against Saudi Arabia? Who saw that result coming? Argentina against Saudi Arabia.
Did you have to go for Messi?
I got both. That's what made it worse when they lost 1-0.
Should have went for Taremi.
But every time I back Martinez, he doesn't do anything.
He's going to go off it. If you don't put him in I need you to put him in your team so that he does nothing. Because otherwise, we're all going to watch him bang in loads of goals. I suppose the saving grace is Porto are just clean sheet machines in that league.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing as well is that their goalkeeper is just a penalty saving just machine as well. So yes. Who takes the penalties for Inter? Because they're about to get some minus points coming their way.
Do you not know? Thought you might know.
I think it's Martinez, isn't it?
I imagine so. But I mean, it could be Çalhanoğlu. He takes free kicks, doesn't he?
Yeah. I'm not 100% sure, actually.
On to Porto. In their 5 games this calendar year, they've drawn 0-0. They beat Famalicão 4-1. They beat Guimarães 1-0. They beat Maritimo 2-0. And they're beating Vizela 2-0. So not really tearing up any trees, really. They're doing well. Costa in goal, obviously. What a legend already. But João Mario, right back, in his 5 appearances, not only does he have those 4 clean sheets, but he's got a goal and 2 assists. So I think if you're looking for someone budget, I think he's probably the one for the Porto defence. Meccano, 4 million, is playing all the games next to a mix of Pepe and Cardoso. But I've been burned by overly cheap Porto centre-backs already. Mendel's left back, 1 goal in 5 games. Not really enough. Galeno, the winger, left winger, he has 3 goals and an assist in his 5 games, but 2 goals and an assist came in 1 game, so against the Famalicão. So I don't think he's like overly consistent. I think he could be a trap. Taremi isn't playing well. He's got 2 goals in his last 5 games, but his actual performances have been dog shit. So
I've heard that he's not even playing the full 90 anymore.
He's not. Evan Nielsen's been coming on for him. Evan Nielsen actually started the last game, got an assist, but he played rubbish as well. Curse of the starting lineup. They have changed around their formation though. They swapped between a 4-4-2 and a 4-2-3-1. And Taremi tends to do a little bit better when he's sort of playing in like that little free roll behind whoever's playing up front. Weirdly enough, beyond that though, I think that is it. What's your are you getting anyone for Porto? Sorry, are you doing anything with Porto?
I've still got a goalkeeper in, but that's just out of loyalty. But that will change. I had a quick look at the penalty taker. Inter's last penalty was the 9th of November, and it was Shalinoglu in a 6-1 win against Bologna. So there you go. Martinez and Dzeko were on the pitch. And in that game, DeMarco scored twice. So get him in.
What we've established this from finding out who Inter's penalty taker is get DeMarco in. That's what we found out.
But Shalinoglu is going to get minus points coming his way. After he gets a penalty save.
I forgot. You know what? I forgot to say this on the Spaces as well because we rushed this game on the Spaces. So if you've stuck around this long, here's a little bit of gold for you. Otavio isn't back until the 20th of February, apparently. Vendel, the starting left back, is injured. Evan Nielsen, Taremi's backup / strike partner, is injured. And Cardoso, the centre back, is injured, so it looks like Pepe will play alongside Marcano. So I think if they've got Wendell injured and Cardoso injured, they've got Pepe, and then we don't know who's going to be the left back. I think it could be Darmian. Darmian could be a good pick, but Lautaro Martinez is feasting.
Oh, don't do this to me, especially if Haaland's injured.
Lautaro Martinez is feasting me. At home, San Siro.
No, you're just doing this to ruin my team so you get back ahead of me.
I am not. I honestly am considering Lautaro Martinez, but also I am the person that brought in Muller ahead of Benzema last year, and that didn't go well for me either. But just look at how he's playing. That's all I'm saying, bro.
No.
You look legitimately distressed.
I am now. There's not one player
really
that gives me
shit
as
in the
much of a
World Cup.
headache.
He was so shit in the World Cup, and he's been rubbish before the World Cup. He was rubbish last year, but he's good now. And FIFA says he's good, so he must be good.
FIFA says he's good.
I don't have FIFA 23, so.
FIFA
22 said he was good.
Yeah, FIFA 22 said he was good. I think he is actually pretty good on FIFA 23 because I just keep seeing for some. I see.
He's probably getting Team of the Week cards every week. That's why.
Yeah, he's got some sort of special card, but either way, I don't play it this year. Wait for next year. When the game has actually changed one feature. I think I am actually tempted to go to Martinez now. Maybe Dzeko. Maybe I've not. Yeah, that's what's going to happen. You're going to make me go Martinez, and then you pick Dzeko, and then...
I'm not picking Dzeko. I have no chance of picking Dzeko. 1 goal, 1 assist. Pereira is injured, though, so he's nailed to start. Dzeko and Martinez are absolutely nailed. Dzeko loves a goal in the Champions League, doesn't he? That's the thing with them. Either one of them can score on the day. One of them two is getting a goal in this game. Guaranteed at the San Siro. I don't care how good Porto's defence have been, though. I don't think they had like an amazing defence in the group stage, to be honest.
He's 3% owned as well. Okay, if he scores tomorrow in tomorrow's game against Sampdoria, he's in my team.
He's in.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
So I need to check that result.
Love this. Love this shit.
And I've committed
on that
to
bombshell. On that bomb. Oh, what's the score going to be, actually?
If I get Martinez in, it'll be 0-0.
No, it won't be. It'll be 2-0 Dzeko with brace.
Martinez missed penalty, even though he's not going to take them. You'll take it just to spite me. He knows. He listens to this podcast. And then if I don't have Martinez in, he's going to do similar to what was it Dybala did to you, like last season or something like that.
I brought Dybala in, and he played.
You captained. It was that you captained him instead of someone else.
Yeah, I captained him against Malmo, and he got subbed off after 45 minutes and did nothing.
There's just so much pain that comes with this game. Like,
oh god, the memories,
the highs and lows. We've got Ilicic. We've got Ilicic and then Martinez and Dybala.
Annoying. I think I'm going to have to go for in the defender, though. That's nailed in, whether that's going to be Darmy. Because the thing is, I do think DeMarco's a better pick, and he's on some direct free kicks. But if Wendell's out,
is cheaper as well.
Darmian plays on that right-hand side, and I think he could do some damage against whoever's going to fill in there. But either way, I picking in a defender, I think, for this game.
Yeah.
I'm going to go for 2-0 Inter. That's what I think it's going to be. So probably shouldn't go for Costa. That being said, anything can happen in the second leg. That is us done, Aaron. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Thank you if you listened to the spaces. Thank you if you watched last night. Apologies if you watched the live stream. That was terrible. That was all my fault as well. It was all my doing. But again, like I've already mentioned, I felt like it added to the credibility of the podcast that we fucked it up, because that's exactly what UEFA did. Was it last season? It was, wasn't it?
Yeah. They had to do a redraw. Thank goodness we didn't do a live stream reaction to that.
Well, I thought we did, didn't we? Oh no, we didn't. We had to set it back, didn't we?
Yeah.
We ended up doing a live stream reaction to the actual draw because we'd set it up later, didn't we?
Yeah.
So it worked out handy that way. Thank you so much for listening and watching. We are the main event. You can find us on Twitter at UCL Fantasy Pod. Aaron, can you remember your own handle this time round?
It's Aaron_Graydon, I think. It's either my Twitter or my PlayStation name. So
add Aaron on either, whatever you fancy. We're available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, YouTube, Google Podcasts, anywhere you can find podcasts, really. Nice and easy to find. Thank you so much again. And we will see you for a live reaction Tuesday, Wednesday, or both. We'll see what happens. Best of luck to everyone. We'll see you then. Bye now.